We, on behalf of the SREC Alumni Association and the Triple Department, welcome you for the 76th webinar talk. Perks of practice. Welcome our principal ma'am, speaker of the day, Mr. Prem Prakash, faculty members, current students, and all alumni friends. Mr. Prem, after his engineering, completed his master's in systems engineering at UMBC, Maryland, USA. He was back to India in 2019 and joined a startup, Densa Innovations, and worked for a year and a half. He was into creation of prototypes. Since 2021 February, he has been with IM Robotics and Automation as control system engineer. The company is into product development of bionic arm, leg, and non-invasive surgical tools. He takes care of electronic parts of the products that they develop. Over to you, Mr. Prem.
Yeah. So, hello to one and all present here. First of all, I would like to thank everyone who is involved in this process. Um, and thanks for the nice introduction. And thanks for giving me this opportunity. And second, I would like to bring your attention to the fact that I have my dental clips on. And because of that, sometimes some of my words might not sound that crisp. Um, I would like to apologize in advance for that. I got it only a couple of weeks ago. I'm getting used to it, but it's a lot better. But still, sometimes I struggle with it. So I apologize for that. So I've been told that this audience is a mixed bag of members from alumni to students to staff. But this talk, I was focusing on the students and I was hoping to guide students to become a real engineer. Um, but I still hope everyone benefits from this. Let's start with a small story, a real life story. Recently, I had the pleasure of interviewing few people um, for internship position in a company. So they were currently students. They were students who were currently doing their sixth semester of their ECE course, and they were there. My company is small, so we don't have those aptitudes and stuffs to filter out students. We just simply give them tasks and ask them to accomplish this, and we assess them based on that. So the first task that I gave to them was a really simple task. I gave them an LED and asked them to uh, make it glow with help of a 12-volt DC supply. For those who are not familiar with electronics, it is equivalent to printing an Hello World program while you're learning programming. So that is the first step. It is a very basic programming, and that's what I gave them as the first task. And I gave them the sources, I gave them the LEDs and everything, and 15 minutes went by, and they were all sitting and staring at each other like anything. They, they felt felt like they were seeing ghosts, and I was really shocked. I felt really sorry for them. Mind you, they were from a reputed college from Coimbatore. I don't want to tell the name of the college, but they were from one of the reputed colleges in Coimbatore. But still, they were unable to do such a small task. Even when I was giving them the task, had I was thinking like, this is such a silly question. They would easily do this task. It's not such a big deal. But I was the one who was taken by surprise. Apart from the fact that they should have known all those things beforehand, they were sitting in front of a computer with an internet connection, and no one even thought of just looking up it in the system. Like, I did not prohibit them from using internet. They could have just simply used that to find out the solution, and they could have done that. Like, they were not even ready to do that. It was such a shame. And the cherry on top of that is that all those interns, they never had an idea. They were uh, you can call the creme de la cremes of the college or something like that. So they had good GPAs and everything, but still they were not able to do this simple task. That is a real testament to the education system. However, changing the education system is a bigger question. We will not go into that now, but we'll see what you could possibly do, especially as a student, to not be in this position, not being able to answer a simple task, do a simple task. The answer is quite simple, actually. The answer is just to practice. Okay, so let's rewind a few years and we'll go back and we'll see how practice helped me. So I was born and brought up in Tenkasi. It is near Tirunelveli. It's quite a rural town, so I did not have much of an exposure. To be frank, when I came to Coimbatore for my undergrad, it felt quite different. People spoke differently. They were dressed quite different. I had quite a cultural shock, and it was too much. And I was also struggling to do engineering. So EEE, as I was being told, is not an easy subject, easy department to learn. So things were just a little bit rocky, and that's how my first semester started. And I was worried, and I had the same feeling that usually all students have. Like, once I come out of the exam hall, I won't remember anything that I learned. Like, nothing, it just felt like it vanished. So I asked around for help. Um, that's one thing that I somehow did, somehow had the courage to ask for help. And then I asked around for students, asked around the students and professors, my seniors and professors. And one professor, Professor Ravi Kumar, he was taking electric circuits for me at that time. He gave me an advice: practice something. So if you're learning something, practice it, and that will help you understand, and that will help you stick it in your memory. So he asked me to do mini projects basically. But then I was too scared. Like, I was, நான் என்ன பண்ண போறேன், எனக்கு எதுவுமே தெரியாது, எனக்கு ஒண்ணுமே தெரியாது. So I was, what am I going to invent? I don't have any creative ideas. I was really scared. I got all those questions and I was really scared. And because of that, I I almost did not do anything, and I was about to go back into my place and just like படிச்சுட்டு எழுதிட்டு நம்ம படி போயிட்டே இருப்போம். I was there in that mindset. But then I was in but still somehow I asked around for more help, and I met with Professor RSS, R. Shanmugasundaram. I think he has finished his doctorate now, so Dr. R. Shanmugasundaram. So he simply said, நீங்க புதுசாலாம் ஒன்றும் பண்ண வேண்டாம் கண்ணா, சிம்பிளா இருக்கிற ஒரு சர்க்கியூட்டை திருப்பி பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்னாரு. So he was the only professor who said that to me. So he didn't ask me to innovate. He didn't ask me to do something new. He just said me to repeat whatever that is already there. So that's where I started. So it was my semester break. He gave me some magazines he suggested some magazines to look into, and I looked into, and I was inspired to create a power source. And my parents were fortunate enough to be able to help me buy the things that I wanted to make for the project. And if I remember correctly, it came around somewhere around $1,500 rupees. And I made my first project, a DC power source. It would simply take an AC current and change it into DC. It's not a big task, but that's what I did. And I still have that with me. I'll be honest, it did not look pretty. The soldering was sloppy. The placement of the components were not optimal. And I had to do a bit of rework to just make it usable. Okay. But I made that project. That one small creation taught me a lot of skills that I would not obtain otherwise. It sparked an interest in me towards electronics. When I was doing the project, that was my first time ever doing soldering, which was a totally different experience. And in all 4 years of my education in undergrad, no one taught us to solder, but it's quite an important skill. Even today in my office, for some projects, when we develop the circuit and when we want to try the prototype, you get the PCB, but you have to solder the things by yourself. So it's quite an important skill that I learned back in my college, and I still use it. The magazine article that I've followed to make the experiment, it did explain the working and how it works and everything. But doing that was a totally different experience. It gave me a better understanding. I was able to check the waveform using an oscilloscope in the college. When I did that, it felt magical. I was able to change an AC wave into a DC wave and DC signal, and it felt very magical. I was very proud of myself, and I went back to the professor and showed to him, and he suggested few improvements. He shared a couple of his wisdoms with me, and that's how it all started, with a simple project which is just a replication and not an innovation. Then in the upcoming semesters, I started taking more of a practical approach than the theoretical approach. Whenever a new circuit comes in a subject, I would put it in a simulation software and see how it works. Check the voltage in each and every point, check the current, how it flows and everything. So that gave me that by which I gained more understanding of how things work. Just reading the books did not help me. Later in lab sessions, labs can be trouble. Like trouble comes in all shapes and forms. Like you feel like you have everything correct and that you won't get any output. But I got more comfortable with that, more comfortable with not getting the correct outputs, and then I was able to solve everything. I was able to make the circuits work. Albeit I was not great at documenting. Records and observations were my first enemies. I absolutely hated that, but I was able to make the circuits work. So that was a win in my book. During my second year, my sister got me an Arduino Uno. I used it to develop projects and through which I gained knowledge in embedded systems. I had etched my own PCB, which helps me in creating prototypes in my company. So these are all the skills. These are all certain things that you won't just get by simply reading the books and writing the exams or solving problems. Doing things will give you something much more than that. Those skills, those specific skills that helps you practice, make, develop, and do, those are something that are very, very valuable. It will help you throughout your career. Later, when I was involved in a team for a robotic competition, we won the first round. We moved on to the second round. It was a national round and we did not clear it. We lost it. But the interesting thing is that for the second round, I learned few things, few concepts of control systems, which are not actually being taught to me at that point. It was taught to me later. But I learned all those things ahead of time. But because I learned all those things and I had a practical understanding, even though if I was not able to completely solve that, do it in a perfect way, I had that knowledge. And surprise, surprise, today in my company, we are implementing the same technology, same control principles to control different motors and different gears and everything. So we are using the same principle that I learned during my college. So which I actually learned not for the subjects, but for practice. So practice, that is where I started gaining more skills and understanding, and I started understanding the subjects better. That is the perk of practice. You'll definitely start feeling more like an engineer rather than just a person holding a paper which says you are an engineer by the end of the college if you start practicing. Until you start doing that, you will just feel like an imposter. So few key things to notice. Everyone will have that question: where do I start? How do I start it? How do you do it? But the simple key is to just simply start. Start somewhere. Start with a project. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be innovative. Just start with a simple project, simple practice project. Just recreate something that is already existing. It will widen your knowledge. It will deepen your understanding. It will keep the things interesting. Your brain works that way. If you start applying things to applying things that you learn in the subjects, it will keep you interested in the subjects, and it will definitely help you in keeping college from being dry. If you don't practice, college becomes really dry. You will learn a ton of things and you won't know which goes where, and you just become very bored with the subjects really quick. So another key factor is that you must learn to be okay with making a fool out of yourself and be okay making mistakes. We as humans, we don't like when people point out our mistakes, and with the advent of social media, there seems to be an insane pressure to be perfect. That pressure will stop you from making mistakes and learning new things. History is filled with innovations and discoveries that were mistakes. Discovering America was a mistake. Inventing penicillin was a mistake. And you can keep going on and on about so many mistakes that actually ended up saving lives in history. And there are so many examples in science. Okay. So don't be afraid to make mistakes and don't be afraid to make a fool out of yourself. I've seen people bend over backwards just to get a single picture for their Instagram profiles. Those feelings of needing to be perfect consequently makes you scared to make a mistake, and it finally kills your creativity. That is where so many of people are afraid to step out there. That feeling of needing to be perfect is leading you guys not to step out of your comfort zone and make mistakes. had those guys who had come for for the internship, had they practiced engineering by doing some non-innovative projects, or been okay with making a fool out of themselves and just tried Googling for the solution in the system, they would have probably solved my problem and they would have probably gotten an internship in the company. I really feel sorry for them that they're not able to do all those things. We being a startup, who's working in a product development environment, we encounter a lot of candidates. This doesn't necessarily mean those 4 people. This seems to be a general trend. A lot of people come through our doors, and every day it's the same. Like doesn't know how to do a simple task, but puts up so many things in the profile. The profile was like, there was another student. He had his profile like, I got a project and my project got 2 lakhs award and so and so. And then I asked him to design something in CAD, and he is starting to design just like that. He did not ask for any measurements or anything. So start by doing things. That is where you will gain the skills. That is where you will gain understanding, and that will definitely help you in your life. To quote one of my favorite characters from one of my favorite franchises, Harry Potter from the Harry Potter series, working hard is important, but there is something that matters even more: believing in yourself. Think of it this way: every great wizard in history started out as nothing more than that, more than what we are now, students. If they can do it, why not us? Every great scientist, every great innovator, and every great engineers were once students. Believe in yourself, start somewhere, make mistakes, be okay with those mistakes, and learn from it, and then become an engineer. Thank you for listening, guys.
Did an excellent presentation, Prem.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. That means a lot.
Yeah, wonderful talk, Prem Prakash, 2016 AAA department. Beautifully said. Do mistakes, learn from mistake. It was wonderful, and it was really admirable talk that you started to do something which was available, then you capitalized on that. Really excellent, excellent way you approached it, and hats off to the staff who actually motivated you to do so. Really mesmerizing. I personally have never thought that, because always when we ask students to do, we always ask them to do something new. So this is something in this evening I got a message from you. Thank you for that.
It's a pleasure.
Prem, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And you have changed a lot, my dear.
Yeah.
I think good, right? I will come back to you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Prem, it was a small talk with a wonderful message.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Prem, in one sentence, if you want to give a message to students, what will be that? It was I could understand from the message what you have said already, but still, for the benefit of students.
For the benefit of the students, the one sentence that I will do is start simple. It doesn't have to be, your projects doesn't have to be innovative, your project doesn't have to be perfect. Just start somewhere. That will break so many of the mental barriers that you have. And then once you do that, you will gain the confidence to move on to better projects, challenging projects, and that will definitely lead you somewhere in your life.
Great. So start simple. Really very simple words, but powerful. Thank you, Prem. Yeah. So when you say to start simple, actually it's an out of syllabus question, but still, could you give us a few examples what a student can really do out of your experience?
So out of my experience, I can tell for EEE, say anyone who's doing something with electronics, EEE, BMI, biomedical engineering, and E&Is. For anyone who's doing with electronics, if they want to learn electronics, the simplest thing is to just think about the same question that I asked my interns. Start with making an LED glow. That itself is not so you'll learn quite a few just by doing that one experiment. As simple as it is, very simple, but just start there. that will spark your curiosity, and that will move on. That will help you move on to different things. Um, because I recommend that one to all my students, like whoever I've seen even here, is that because that will teach you so many principles. Like you will practically use two principles. You will use your Ohm's law and you'll use your Kirchhoff's law. Those both are involved in those things. And then you'll also get to know about data sheets and the importance of data sheets by doing that project, and the importance of power supply and the kind of power supply that you are using. So I have seen some school students who come to my startup to learn few things. They really mess up with those things. But so this one single example will teach them how basically the basics, the fundamentals of electronics, and they can easily grow from that. From there, they can easily step into whatever levels they want. That's where for AAA, I would suggest. Yeah, and for mechanical, one thing that I can, on the top of my head, I can think is mechanical students that have come through my company, come through our company. We have seen them struggling with gears. I don't know why it seems to be. They will be good at designing. You can give them a design, they can design it in whatever software, CATIA or like SolidWorks or AutoCAD, they can do that. But if you ask them to design some gears or design something, that's where they struggle. But I don't know where they should start for that. But that is something that I think students should work, really. I don't think it's such a difficult task, but they should really start there, I believe.
Yeah, beautifully said, Prem Prakash. When you said about CATIA SolidWorks, I would like to remind something with what happened with my students. Like when I said to do a project, finally they asked me, sir, how can I project it in my resume? Then what we came up with the solution is that you upload it in a YouTube, you create a channel, put it in a YouTube, take that link and paste it in your resume, and that will speak for your experience. If you don't have experience, you can show it as an experience. And that student did it, and it worked out. Actually, he grabbed an internship and now he is working with that company. So it is always good, as you already said, start simple. And for mechanical students and other related branches, definitely work with CATIA, SolidWorks, whatever they know, create projects, record it, upload in a YouTube, make that link in your resume. Definitely that will speak as an experience. Thank you, Prem, for that wonderful.
Yeah. So one more thing is, like, whenever an intern comes in, we are not necessarily looking for them to innovate something, but we are more looking for them to implement certain things. So if a engineer comes in and I'm asking them to implement a certain design and something, they have to be able to design and implement it in whatever software that works. So that is the basic level that we are looking, and master that first, and then you can move on to innovation, and then innovation will automatically come. Once you do that, once you start replicating, innovation will automatically come in and you'll start creating things.
Yeah, audience, you have any questions, please come forward. Yeah, Prem, I have a couple of questions more. Usually when we are students, the question of funding will always rise. Projects will come here and there, but funding will be an issue. And for that funding, what usually student does is that he forms a team. And when it progresses, some of the team members may drop out. But in short, funding is an issue for a student to come up with out of syllabus projects like this. So how did you actually, you said your parents supported you, but
Yes.
still, how you convinced them?
How did I convince them? Like, so parents supported me. So none of my projects costed thousands. I know few of my mechanical student mates did few projects and it costed like in lakhs. Fortunately, with electronics engineering, it did not cost us that much. But if you can't, if you can't just stick with simulations, there are a lot of simulations. Put your simulation, and you can even apply for crowdsourcing, like crowdfunding, like GoFundMe. There are GoFundMe pages which take up even these kinds of requests, and you can ask them for support. if you don't want to join your teammates, and you can simply do that to get fundings. But I don't believe I'm the best person to give advice on that, but that is one way that could work. Like I have seen people who have did their simulations, and they would upload it to their GoFundMe pages, and they'll put a description, and they'll get funding to make certain things happen. If it is innovative, they can do those kind of things. But if you want to do something that is already existing, I don't see. Convincing my parents is that, like, I simply said, like, this is what you paid me for. காலேஜுக்கு ஒரு லட்சமா கொடுக்குறீங்க, எனக்கு அதுல இருந்து ஒரு 10,000 ரூபாய், ஒரு 5,000 ரூபாய் தர மாட்டீங்களா அப்படின்னு சொல்லி, like, that's how I got my money from my parents. So this is going to help me. You just have to make them understand that this is a part of your education, and if you do that, you should be really parents are convinced. That is one of the ways, I believe.
Okay, and the last question from my side is that interdisciplinary projects is a talk of a town now. So
Yes.
how do you rate it? Yeah.
How do I?
How do you rate it or give importance to that interdisciplinary projects?
Interdisciplinary projects. It really comes down to the project. Like, does it necessarily need projects from projects that involve multiple disciplinary people? If that is the answer, yes, because mainly when it comes to robotics, you need all three people. You need the mechanical student to work perfectly. You need the electronic student to work in its best of abilities, and you also need the programmer to work to the best of his abilities. So you need all those three things. But I wouldn't suggest someone to just do a multidisciplinary project just because they wanted to do a multidisciplinary project, but rather see what comes up with what project you are there, and if it necessarily needs all those departments, yeah, go ahead, why not? And when you are working with multidisciplinary projects, you will also get to learn a few things about them. So like, until I started working in this company, I did not know anything about SolidWorks, CATIA or anything. But once I started working this, I am also learning a little bit of mechanical side, and I'm also getting to know how those things are working. So that definitely widens your knowledge, and yeah, that comes in really handy in terms of employment. Especially if you're looking to get employed in product development or somewhere like that.
Okay, very nice. Thank you.
Mr. Prem,
Yes.
like
Yes,
since
sir.
you are into this electronics, and since you
Mhm.
got this, you know the struggle of a student into getting into the projects. Is there a way
Yes.
that you'll be able to guide or support the current pre-final year or final year students in any way?
Right now, currently, so we do have projects that needs interns from, but right now we are in a position where we cannot financially support them. Like, we can't pay them for an internship. But we do have projects which require electronics engineers and programmers. So if there are a few people, we'll be definitely happy to get them involved. Actually, our company, we are currently looking forward to work with Anna University Chennai on a project. So if your students are coming in, we could definitely club them and possibly send them over there to start working in that environment. That could be a possibility, but I'm not sure about that. But that is definitely one of the possibilities that is there.
Thank you.
Yeah, Prem. Now, as far as our college is concerned, like we have a mini project 1, which they do in the second year, and mini project 2, which they do in the third year, and final year they have their regular project. So, is there any suggestion to add something more so that some more hands-on would happen for a student? because you already said that when you tried giving internship for a few students, your interview, they were not able to actually cope up with your question, isn't it? So could you give some sort of suggestion that what else we can do so that we may not be in that position?
So the first thing I would suggest for the college is to not compel the students to come up with projects that are innovative. Let them be themselves. Let them just make projects that whatever that is already existing. So that will basically uh, start the process. That's how they will start loving to do things. Okay, so because they will know, okay, if you do someone has already done that, so if I do the same thing, I should get it. And definitely you won't get it. You will face a lot of troubles even in that, and then you will start figuring out how to put it together. And once you are done with that, then is when you will start making your own projects, and your innovations will follow you. You will think about, you'll take a project and you'll see maybe doing this is not the right way, maybe you should do it that way. So that is one thing. So you have 3 project sessions and they are submitting 3 projects. Apart from that, one thing that I learned from United States is that in their curriculum, for every subject, they would submit some kind of a project. So their assignments won't be something, at least from when I learned, my assignments could be easily copied from someone else. I could just take their notes and I could just copy them and I can submit it to the professor, and they cannot find the difference. So they can't fault me for plagiarism or something like that. But the way they do is create assignments so that everyone's assignment will be different from each other. So the assignments will be more of an application-based assignment rather than spitting out the theory back. So that is one thing I would suggest in addition to this mini projects that you have. If your assignments could focus more on the application side, right? Right, like the first application, even if it is a basic problem, you can ask them to, you can give them some questions, and if that is to be applied and if it is to be calculated, so everyone should have different problems. So that is really, really difficult on the teacher's part. I definitely understand that. But I really understand that, but that is where growth comes. So and I'll be super honest, until or unless the student, you can show the horse the water, but you can't make it drink. So the student should also be interested in doing the projects. So until or unless you do, they are interested, there is not really much that you can do to make them be more creative. They have to be, all you can do is create an environment so that they feel okay making mistakes. And if you create such an environment, I think students will do.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you, Prem. Audience, you have any questions to Prem?
One last question, Mr. Thomas. Like to Prem,
Yeah, please.
do
Yes,
you
sir.
recommend any other courses, or the masters is better in your field? Is it will it give them a much better exposure rather than directly coming to work after the engineering, or some courses or their masters? Which one would be better?
So in my experience, rather than masters, doing the projects, again, going back to that, doing the projects, doing certain things, that is what that really helps someone stand out in a crowd. Because the first question that I'm going to shoot someone who shows me a resume is that, tell me what you did in this project. What was your contribution? What did you do? So if I start grilling them on that, until or unless they had actually done that, like, so even in your projects, that it will be teams, right? Like, so the of the 3 or 4, like only possibly 1 or 2 would have actually done that, and the rest would have just did the other works. So until or unless you are the one who's doing the project, you will have no way to answer the question. So even if you go in masters, in India, you again go into the same cycle of learning more things, studying things, but there is zero application. The application side is the weakest part. So once you start applying, you have to start applying. I would not suggest anyone to directly go from the undergrad to masters, because you won't have that much of a practical knowledge. Start working in a company. So if you can afford it, start working in a startup. That's where you will gain more knowledge and more experience. You won't get paid much. You will get paid really, really low, but they will give you really challenging environments to work. They will have challenging problems for you, and you will start working with those things. And once the application side is good, that is when you will have a more understanding of the subject, and it will also help you refine the masters. So masters is where you are honing your knowledge, right? Like, so you have to you should be able to tell, so this is where I want to make more this is where I want to make more of an advancement. This is what I want to learn more about, right? So for someone who directly goes from BE to, you can do it, but rather than that, if you start working on more projects and if you start working in a firm, you will understand which is actually working for you and which is not working for you, and which you want to learn more, and then you can move on to your master's. So that is my recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prem.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if there are no other questions, Prem, Vasant, and Kadirvel sir, shall we go for the closing remarks?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Thomas.
So thank you, Prem Prakash, 2016 AAA Department alumnus. You made this evening wonderful, a memorable one. Thank you, Prem, once again for accepting our invitation and delivering a wonderful talk in this webinar talk series number 76, Perks of Practice. Thank you so much. SRSG Alumni Association and the Department of AAA is proud to host you for today's webinar talk number 76, Perks of Practice. Thank you, Kadirvel sir and team Vidya ma'am for roping in Prem Prakash for this webinar talk. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Prem, once again for available for this talk today. Thank you, audience, for joining us. Thank you, student friends, faculty members, and alumnus from all over the globe for being here today. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranalji. Thank you, Vasant sir. Thank you. Thank you, Prem.
It's been a pleasure meeting you guys.
Thank you, Vas. Thank you, Prem. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.